I think we're good. Is we good? No, I've got okay. I don't want to turn on live stream notifications. That's too much of a pain. How about we don't do that? How about I actually fix a ghost boy here? There we go. We'll set him. Well, actually, we should set him right there. Let's set him on this side. That's fine.
Oh, how many forging commissions do I still have to
We can go
finish?
ahead and add
Let's
some
see.
chat
One,
to this too.
two.
Why not? Why not? Let's go.
Not so many as I thought. I'll get to them tomorrow.
Suddenly deciding to do things at the last minute. Actually, I have to go to Streamlabs to get that. I don't want to do that right now. we'll just get into this. All right. So, some things. There was one useful bit of information that I got from the comments. Well, there's two useful bits. One unique useful bit that I was embarrassed that I didn't think of. I should send out a Discord notification. Let me do that while we are loading into the area.
Temperature's just right. Ah, but this isn't the best spot to lie down.
At streams. With the slash and with the soda pop. All right, cool. Let's go. All right, so the first thing, when you go into a chamber, in the first chamber into this, you'll have full energy on Mavuika. Meaning, in that first rotation, you technically don't need to use her skill, which makes the setup a lot easier for Melt. And that's not just with Seat Lolly, that's with everyone. I'll show it. I guess I can go ahead and I'll show it in a bit. So you can technically get away with not using Mavuika's skill in the first rotation. That is only with both Shilonen and Seat Lolly, however. Without one or the other, you just won't even get close to maxing your fighting spirit if you don't use your skill in the first rotation. Because after you use her burst, it's still sticking. And that's what makes the cryo setups hard to begin with. So that's just something to keep in mind, and I'll show off a little something in a bit regarding that. The first thing, and this is the most important thing, is while I was working on the video, so Jeff put out a video where he showed how you could get more melts. And I was pointed to that, and I appreciate that. However, in my video, I was comparing to the I Want to Lose and to the Ziox videos, right? I couldn't compare it to something that came out after the thing that I'm comparing it to. They did not do what the Jeff did in his video. Like, that doesn't make sense. But it is very, very important that y'all know what this thing that came out afterwards is. All I hear is engines is rev. Oh, okay. All right. Hold up. Let me get this. Thank you. Wow, that's actually so low. Hold up. Let me pull up the stream. The game audio is really low. Riding up the cathedral walls, but I'm not even doing that. What's going on? Let me pull up the stream. What is this? Yeah, like I legit just hear myself. I don't even hear the game. What is this? Alright, so anyways. The setup to get more than one melt. Keep in mind,
Hear the echoes of the
in my video, I was comparing strictly to a video where that was not being done.
time to
Okay?
end them. Light up the blazing sun.
3, 4, jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is 5 mil. Okay? That is something I wish I knew before doing the video. But keep in mind, I was comparing to the I Want to Lose video where he did a 1 melt setup. Haven't caught a stream in a while? I haven't done a stream in a while. Like, I think you popped in the last time I streamed and I was doing some Lost Kingdoms. But here's the thing. Something you're still not being told is that even with that setup, it is not exclusive to Seat Lolly.
Make sure to
It is something that's not something that Seat Lolly is the only character can do. Granted, she is the easiest to do it with. Like, no doubt, easiest to do it with, most convenient. It doesn't get in the way of me talking? Okay.
Exploration and
However,
trials.
the setup that allows for those
Adventuring is
extra
right up
melt
my alley.
works for all the characters that I showed off could also do that 1 melt setup.
bring it.
Get our stuff going and head back over there. Okay.
Off we go.
We're gonna skill burst, then do our normal attacks. I'll talk about that in a second. Skill, do some normal attacks while we wait on particles, burst, skill, wait on the particles, and then I fucked it up. Whoops.
Judgment.
Now we should be good. Let's try that again. Skill burst,
Hear the echoes of the velvet.
normal attack, burst, skill, normal attacks while we wait on the particles, burst, skill, wait on the particles, and burst. Moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. I fucked it up again. We gonna get it. Yoink. And skill,
Everybody stand back. Shiver. You can't run.
Pyroclastic surge.
1, 2, 3, 4. Jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 extra melt. So this thing that everyone was spamming my comments about making Seat Lolly so much better than all the cryo alternatives, the cryo alternatives can also use. Isn't that interesting? It's not just Rosaria. Let me explain some other things while we're at it. We'll go ahead and move on to some other things, and then I'll go to the other setups for other characters. Something else I got a lot of pushback on was 93 fighting spirit on Shalonen and less than 50 on Seat Lolly. And I didn't elaborate on this because I thought it was like kind of common sense. Mavuika. Let's go ahead and get our burst on Mavuika and then get rid of it. Okay. There goes our burst. And we'll wait for it to end real quick. Alright. So how much fighting spirit does Mavuika have right now? Can anyone tell me? Anyone tell me? I will go ahead and say it. It may look like she doesn't have any fighting spirit at the moment, but she actually has just barely under 10 fighting spirit. Because when she uses her burst, she gets 10 fighting spirit. And using that fighting spirit in her burst counts as her gaining fighting spirit. And we can prove this by going to Shalonen. We use Shalonen's skill. This will be 45. We're going to let this just go down. That'll be 45, right? Wait to use another skill. That'll be another 45, which will be 90 from her. It should put us right under 100, right? And we can demonstrate that as soon as this is over by just doing a single normal attack, and now Mavuika has her burst. So Mavuika during her burst is generating just under 10 fighting spirit. You only have to do one normal attack to gain 1.5 fighting spirit from her passive. Which one? No, from... There we go. From that. You get 1.5 fighting spirit every 0.1 seconds from every normal attack. So, 2 Shalonen skills without actually maxing it out to get the full amount. And a burst. And 1 normal attack is enough to get her fighting spirit enough to be used. That's enough for 100 fighting spirit. Okay? So, just her burst and just Shalonen, since every normal attack that hits is 1.5, when Shalonen does her skill, maxes it out, it spends 90 right there. And she maxes it out with 2 normal attacks. So that's 1.5, 1.5, and 90. That's 93. And we have the 10 from Mavuika. So that's 103. But we also have Mavuika's skill, which will be hitting and generating its own fighting spirit. Which means if Mavuika's skill hits 4 times, we are already at 150 fighting spirit. Mavuika's skill will hit 4 times, at least, in a rotation. After she has no fighting spirit. Meaning, most of the fighting spirit that Seat Lolly generates in the rotation in this team is with Mavuika capped on fighting spirit. So she's generating some amount less than 50. Like, I thought that this was just like common sense if you understood math. Because Mavuika doesn't continue to generate fighting spirit after 200. None of that was to say that Seat Lolly can't generate more. Just that in the team that was being shown, Seat Lolly isn't generating that much fighting spirit. As for the changes within it, with going burst, skill, and normal attacking until we get the particles, well, we just did 3 normal attacks, which means we have an additional 4.5 fighting spirit. It's just a tiny little bit of an optimization that can go in and makes a pretty big difference if you don't have both Shilonen and Seat Lolly for melt. If you have one or the other, it's pretty helpful. In fact, if we could... Let's swap in Seat Lolly.
Whatever you need.
I guess we'll go to Zhongli. We'll get our burst back on Bennett. We'll go ahead and get this moving so it won't have
Adventure time.
Night Soul going into the fight. There we go. Just let that drain. Let's show how much fighting spirit Mavuika has. By the way, Mavuika currently is on a level 1 Earth Shaker, R1, and does not have a Sands. I have nerfed the hell out of her so I could show this stuff off easier. Anyways. So, skill, burst, skill, normal attack, particles, skill, burst, burst. We didn't do it right. But the point is not to do the rotation right at the moment. It's just to show how much fighting spirit he will have at the start of a rotation where she used her burst. And that is really unfortunate that it happened like that. I might need to use... Right. So now we're maxed. We had to wait a little bit to max out. Which actually kind of works out and kind of doesn't. Because, yeah, like, with the setup, you do need to wait a little bit, which is why we didn't get the actual setup there, because I didn't wait. But you do need to wait a little bit, and that can help you get to the point where you're actually at max fighting spirit with just Seat Lolly, with no Shalom. However, we'll go to the Primogia Bishop just so we can have a little bit more time for multiple rotations to show this off.
Rise with the sun. Gather.
I'm going in. Fulfill our pact. You two. Time to end them.
Wrath from the sky.
1, 2, 3, 4. Skill, I didn't do the thing. Whoops.
Let's light it up. Teamwork is
Fine.
show no mercy. Laline, eat Papa. Get him.
Alright, so in the second rotation, we waited a bit and we managed to get it. Whoops. Huh. Last video was bad. Well, I'm going through and explaining some things. So it'll help to have someone here with that opinion of the last video was bad. So walk me through Walk me through the things that you think made that video bad. Okay? Because that's kind of what I'm addressing at the moment. Let me get energy back on everyone now. While I wait.
Fulfill our task.
Another test subject.
All right. So we go over here. Skill.
Stabilize.
Skill.
Everybody stand
Burst.
back.
Skill. Normal attack for particles. Skill. Burst.
For the wrath of the Eat
Normal attack.
Pyroclastic surge.
Burst. Use charge attack. 2, 3, 4. Jump.
Burn it down. Gather.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's light it up. Fulfill our pact. Eat Laline. Eat Papa. Get him.
Wait a little bit, and we managed to get back up. But it's not going to be like that every rotation.
Everybody stand. Get to work. You two. Time to end them.
It'll get close, but not always. Not always there. Your misconception of Seat Lolly is not a primary sort to make the best of Mavuika. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I was like, at the moment, what I'm going through and showing is that Seat Lolly, yes, like on her own, can make it to where Mavuika can max her fighting spirit, right? And Seat Lolly can make it where she can melt all of her meltable hits. However, like I said in the video, Seat Lolly isn't the only character that does that. And Shilonen can also help Mavuika max her fighting spirit. Why is Seat Lolly better for Mavuika than Shilonen? I think now that we know that Seat Lolly does have an easy setup. That said, the same characters I pointed out in the video that had the one melt setups that were used in the I Want to Lose video, those same characters can also do setups that allow Mavuika to melt all of her meltable hits. So it's kind of like a moot point. I think that they have equal value. That is my position now. Just the convenience of her being easier to use to get that set up, I think makes her value equal to Shilonen. Koyo made her kit specifically for Mavuika and made her banner on the same patch. That was the whole plan to get money. So I think the whole plan was to make people think that Seat Lolly was some like necessary tool for Mavuika. And the point of my video was to say, hey, this is what they want you to think, but it's not necessarily true. Does that make sense? Because other characters can do the same job as Seat Lolly. Seat Lolly is better than those other characters, but other characters can do her job. Shilonen is kind of... Shilonen's front-loaded fighting spirit generation makes her a much more ideal teammate for Mavuika. At a baseline. If we were looking at just the one melt setup like we were in that video, that would make Shalonen a lot more valuable. Now that we know that Seat Lolly does allow for a full melt setup, I think that they're roughly equal. TTDS Breast Shred makes her better than Shalonen. Alright. So, we can go ahead and talk about this. Let's go ahead and put Shalonen back in here. And like, I can go over the other major thing that people were complaining about again too.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
So when Mavuika does her burst, if she's in combat, when she does her burst, she generates 10 Night Soul. And she burns through that Night Soul and she has 10 Fighting Spirit. Okay? Shalonen, with her skill,
Bring it.
once she gets these normal attacks and gets it up to 90, she spends all of it. That takes 2 normal attacks, and Mavuika gives 1.5 energy for each normal attack. So Shalonen is generating at least 93. So we have 10 just from her burst, not counting her skill, and 93 here. So hey, we're already right. We're already over 100. But then we have Mavuika's skill, which is going to generate 10 Fighting Spirit each time it hits. Meaning, in this team, Seat Lolly is generating some amount less than 50. Because once Mavuika's Fighting Spirit is capped, it doesn't matter how much Night Soul you're burning. It's capped. That Night Soul isn't generating Fighting Spirit. Okay. Seat Lolly's Breast Shred. Seat Lolly has 20% Breast Shred. Okay. In that video, he is fighting enemies with 10% Breast Shred. And I fought the same enemies. Just for the comparison's sake. This team already has Shalonen, who is lowering the resistance. It gets rid of that 10. We have 26 remaining, and all the remaining that below 0 is half as effective. So just with Shalonen, that enemy is already at minus 13. Since it's already at minus, this 20 is turned into 10. So in this particular team, just like in this particular team, which is what that video was talking about, in this particular team, with the 1 melt setup that I went to lose to use, Seat Lolly's only unique contribution to the team, because other characters can hold TTDS. I think other Catalyst users, as Charlotte, can hold TTDS and give the same setups. The only unique thing that she's bringing to that team against the enemies that were being shown is 10% Breast Shred. Hey, yes. After discovering the value of melting all of the multiple hits, which I'm pretty sure, and I'm not entirely sure, that I did state how big of a deal melting all the multiple hits would be in the video. I said, I think that Shalonen and Seat Lolly are roughly equal. I do not think that you need Seat Lolly to play forward melt. I think that's what those content creators want you to think. I think that was their main goal. I think they're pretty upfront with that being their goal and stating that Seat Lolly was the biggest upgrade you could get, because Shalonen is, at least in my opinion now, equal. At the time I thought better, but now equal. But also, just for the sake of your account, C1, it would be the most important upgrade, because C1 makes it to where you don't need either of these characters. Entire focus is just to max the
How did
energy
the
of her
little
burst.
horses died
That's not the
again?
whole point of
It's what we have
Mavuika. A
every
max
day.
burst
Ugh, don't
Shallonen
think
melt
they did it this time.
is less damage than a not max burst Seat Lolly TTDS melt. Okay. Let's just, for the sake of argument, let's say that the one burst number is all that matters. Okay? Let's go ahead and test this. I do not know what the results of this will be. I think probably the Seat Lolly will do better. But there's a good chance it won't. Oh, we're just trying to melt the burst, right?
Right. But this isn't the best spot to lie down.
We'll trade out Shallonen for Zhongli, right?
A walk would be nice.
We'll go ahead and put... Let's get her burst before putting her... Okay, well, actually, it's almost capped anyway. We'll go ahead and put her on TTDS.
Fulfill our pact. Adventure time.
Okay.
We go.
And Seat Lolly is currently on Cinder City. Okay. Shallonen is also on Cinder City. So this is gonna be as fair as it can get. Okay. Since Zhongli is on Tenacity, I'll put Charlotte on Noblesse. Right? That should make it fair. Here, and we'll go ahead and max Fighting Spirit on Mavuika too.
Show no mercy.
Just tell me one thing: if someone only has Mavuika, who should they pull for vertical investment? Shallonen or Seat Lolly? I think it's equal. I think both of them are just as valuable. Because Seat Lolly can easily be replaced by Rosaria or Charlotte are the main ones. Layla can also replace it, but it's really cringe. Kaya can only replace if you have his C2 and kill enemies during it to refresh it. No, it's not. Okay. So we're already max Fighting Spirit. We're not going to use her kill. We're just trying to see what the biggest burst number is. Oh, hold on. Wait, I forgot. Mavuika is currently on a level 1 Earthshaker. Let's change this out. I forget. We got to make this fair. Okay? Let's give her Sands back. Okay. Let's see how we do. Oh, he could not be replaced by Auroron in forward melt because he would kill the cryo off of the enemy. That's just not something that he could do. But yeah, Shallonen could be replaced by Kachina or Zhongli. I wouldn't really say Kazuha. You won't have very much uptime on his damage bonus or VV. I mean, like, just for the burst number, yeah, that could work. But yeah, like, they're both replaceable, right? That's why I'm saying they have equal value. anyways, let's just see. 'Cause I have not run calcs for this, so let's just see how we do.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Fulfill our pact. Laline, East Papa, get him!
Pyroclastic surge!
What's our number? 657. I don't think we had TTDS. I think we were... Let's do that. Let's run that back. I don't think that was fair. I don't think we had TTDS on Mavuika.
Let's light it up. Adventure.
Let's run that back. That seemed a tad low.
Light it up. Everybody stand back. Get to work. You two. Time to end them.
Wrath from the sky!
We didn't crit. How did we not crit? How did we not crit? That's great. You love to see it.
Yeah! Fulfill our pact.
You love to see it. Oh, well, we're just gonna experiment.
Burn it down!
Show no mercy.
We're good. Let's try again. To be clear, though, overall DPS is what really matters. But we're just testing the big number. 'Cause your point was about the big number.
Solidify!
Teamwork is dreamwork. Get to work. Laline, East Papa, get him!
Pyroclastic surge!
657. Okay, so it was the same. The only seat lolly would be with Sucrose, not Zhongli. So,
Yeah,
Lonan.
let's get this over with.
swap to Charlotte and give her TTDS and Noblesse. Where's Charlotte?
What's the news?
Scroll Center City. Let's look at Sucrose since you brought her up. So VV lasts for 10 seconds. Okay. EM share. 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Okay. In order to swirl the pyro and still have uptime on Bennett and still be able to have cryo on the enemy, the Seat Lolly, Sucrose has to go first. Means you are only getting that boost on the burst. And this is what I was saying on the initial burst hit. Mavuika's does about 40 to 50% of her on-field damage from her charge attack. being able to melt all of those charge attacks is huge. I should put Charlotte on Bath for the moment, just to be able to get the energy we need. And we'll put her back on TTDS. I didn't put her on Noblesse, did I? I did not. Where's all of our Noblesse? Noblesse. Noblesse. We can go off-piece circlet. Noblesse. Noblesse. And might as well go crit rate. Here's a crit rate circlet. There we go. Give me those parts. Hey.
Bring it.
Cool. We're ready to go. We will need to start with Bennett because we'll need to use a skill first in order to trigger Cinder City. Six, five, all sevens. That was our number. Let's see what we get.
Hear the echoes of the valley. Everybody stand back. Let's smile.
I fucked that up, but we're only going for first number, so it's fine. 641899. It was less. Pretty close, but it was less. That said, though, I do have 45% attack. I do have a 45% attack bonus.
Sand is the natural enemy of fire and civilization.
So,
In the desert,
for the initial burst hit,
ruins are all that
Sweet
remain
Lolly
to
is
tell the
definitely
story of the
better.
past.
however, that was not the point of the video. The point of the video was that the videos that I was covering were misrepresenting Sweet Lolly as a necessary pull in order to play Mavuika and Melt. And Ziox even went out of the way to say that her Melt team is kind of the only team worth playing. So, that said, what are we trying to achieve? I'm going through and kind of just explaining kind of the things that weren't really picked up on in the video and the things that were picked up later on, and trying to coalesce
Exploration
in a
and
way
trials.
that's not being
Adventuring is right up my
hostile
alley.
towards people that seem to intentionally try to not understand the video. Just as a last minute thing to clear things up and make sure I get something out about Mavuika that is me and not just me talking about something someone else did. So with that said, let's talk about some other things that we can do with forward mount. You are unsubscribing. You are still missing the point. Bye. Thanks for the other videos. I get that a lot. Goodbye. I wouldn't say Seat Lolly is a must pull, but she's like a second Farina on someone's account, so pulling Seat Lolly won't hurt anyone. Quite the opposite. Seat Lolly is a good addition to any account. Yes. Yes. But that was not the point of the video. The whole point of the video was just that hey, they're overhyping this character specifically for this character that you're probably going to pull to try to make it seem like she's vitally important to play this character in the main way that she's supposed to be played. And I think that that was scummy. But yes, Seat Lolly is a very, very good character and a very good addition to any account. That said, the only unique thing she's bringing is her res shred. And in the specific team they were showing, it wasn't doing as much as they were saying it was. I didn't put Charlotte on TTDS. You're right. Well, he's already gone, but fine. We'll do it again. We'll run it back. I ran it back for Seat Lolly. I can run it back here too. Okay. We'll run it back. I'll remember to put Charlotte on TTDS. Feel like the character that is being truly hyped up is Mavuika. I own both. Mavuika's performance falls by quite a bit, but if she doesn't have both Silo and Seat Lolly on the team, she still has. See, that was the main thing I was trying to get at, is that not having one or the other doesn't make as big of a difference as people were leading on. So 6577 is what we were getting with Seat Lolly. Keep in mind, I do have 45% extra attack. I do have C2. So basically, we can look at this like that number that we got, 3% more attack would have been if Charlotte had TTDS. So it would have been like pretty much equal. But we'll go ahead and put TTDS on. That will actually make it an unfair representation, but yeah. The main thing is that upgrades for Mavuika are being oversold, not necessarily Mavuika. Did anyone catch that number? I looked away. Was it higher than 6577? $641K. That's the same as it was before. Did I not? Huh. Wasn't it 641 before? I must have had her on TTDS and put her back on Fab then. Very much worth to give Petra to Bennett and Mavuika teams with Shilonen. I do not have a Petra set. He's on Song of Days Past at the moment. I shuffle around my artifacts a lot.
Insects have a compulsion to follow the light. And
But yeah,
humans are the same.
Petra is a very underrated
Call
set.
that light hope.
Also, thank you, Div. So yeah, speaking of Bennett, this is something else I like. I can't even believe people were upset about this, but doing something like this. We can lose out on Bennett. We're going to lose a lot of damage on the burst. However, we don't have to do any cringe setups with this. Granted, now we know that there's a setup that is not very cringe that allows us to do it, but this is a lot simpler, and also we get cryo rest with this. I think it's something that's worth doing, especially if you're having trouble managing your energy on Bennett. Yeah, we should probably do Seat Lolly. No, Seat Lolly. We'll put Seat Lolly on TTDS. If we put Seat Lolly on Floating Dreams, I would put Shinha after. Shinha doesn't have artifacts at the moment either. We'll fix this in a second. 641 only before is. So I must have had Charlotte on TTDS then. That or I was sitting on Charlotte 2. I was sitting on Charlotte too close to when I switched to Mavuika. Well, let's go ahead and look at this. Let's put Seat Lolly on 1,000 Floating Dreams and put Shinha in the last spot.
What exactly is teamwork?
Okay, and we'll give Noblesse to Shinha. Here's Circlet. I don't even want to look at her crit rate. I know it's bad. Mavuika double cryo with Shalonen does not allow Seat Lolly to get a reaction easily. It does not. That is why we're going to put, thank you for reminding me, we're going to put Shalonen on instructors. Hold on. They both require a reaction now that I'm thinking about it. I think, no, wait, no, we're totally good. No, it doesn't. Because we're using Mavuika's skill. You do Mavuika's skill, Shalonen, and then Mavuika's skill will tick and Seat Lolly will react. I should put one of them on instructors though. Would that be fair? That we did have, I think we had support artifacts on it. Yeah. We should put one of them on instructors. We'll push Shalonen on instructors real quick. Yeah, they both need a reaction. Stop sorting. By the way, does anyone else hate the default use recommended order? I'm so used to sorting by recent. I guess I don't have an instructor sans. I just have, and it's just cope instructors pieces just to have the set bonus. But sure.
Sand is the natural enemy of fire and civilization. In the desert, ruins are all that remain to tell the story of the past.
And yeah, one thing that I didn't bring up in the video also was that Seat Lolly in the team is better at holding Center City. But like instructors and Cinder City are kind of interchangeable between the two. It's just another thing that makes them kind of equal value for an account. But EM pieces are harder to get than def pieces, so. Have to manually turn it off for every artifact on every character. Yeah, and sometimes I swear it turns itself back on. I hate it. Yeah, we didn't have problems getting a reaction there.
Do your master
Did anyone see that number? Did anyone catch that bus's license plate? Granted, Seat Lolly's number on that was a lot bigger because of the instructors. The instructors are interchangeable, though not quite, since the uptime for instructors is shorter. Yeah. But like if we're just looking at the burst number, which is the main thing that I went to Lucen's Eye were trying to get us to look at, since it was a 1 melt setup. Because he had his Shalonen in the same spot on instructors. Wasn't looking at the numbers, still typing sadly. I think I saw 580k. What are you running back? We're double cryo, it's a lot easier to manage energy now. Apparently not on Shinra though.
Show no mercy. Bring it. Obey.
Okay, we'll run it back. Watch out. With double cryo, you don't have to worry about any setup. It's kind of
Bring it.
super brain dead.
Heroes of the valley.
Uh,
Time to end
whoop.
them. Cryo incarnate. Pyroclastic surge.
Flap. That was only 470k. It's a pretty big drop off there. That's how much value Bennett brings to the team now. But yeah, I would like to go on to reverse melt. However, the reverse melt normally looks like, let's say this was Xiangling, so we'd have Bennett,
Won't hold you back. Much.
Zarya,
Sooner we're done, the better.
Bennett, Xiangling, or Xiangling, Xiangling. Always losing track of my characters.
Make sure
Zarya,
up.
Kaya, right?
Oh, I'm looking forward.
The funny thing about replacing
Wait around. That's what they say anyway. Knowing my luck, the opposite is
Bennett getting
not good for
150,
me.
200k impact, yeah. Diana is better cryo slot since Bennett means he won't be moving around too much anyway. So, Diona, that's one thing I wanted to cover. Like I mentioned at the very, very start of the stream, somebody pointed something out, and I did feel stupid for not realizing it. It's like, in your first rotation, in the first Chamber of Abyss, it does not matter whether or not you use Mavuika's skill. Kind of. If you don't use Mavuika's skill, Diona can actually be used to set up a couple of melts. However, with the skill, I have not found a single setup to be able to allow Diona to set up for Mavuika to melt.
Wow. Where did that come from?
Yeah. Anyways, so for reverse melt, typically works like you got your Bennett burst, then your Xiangling burst, then your Rosaria burst, then your Kaya burst, and you're kind of just like AFK or going through and tapping skills to get some particles on everyone. You know? When you sub out Xiangling for Mavuika, it becomes forward melt. Instead of Xiangling enabling both of these characters to melt, Mavuika
Ready
is
to rock.
once again forward. I don't know why this says fireworks, but whatever. That only works well in double cryo. As a single cryo, you'll face issues with the ability to melt, and you also struggle with energy on her. Yeah. Energy is less of an issue because I think regardless of how you're trying to play her with Mavuika, you're gonna want Sackbow. Because ideally you'd want Elegy, right? But Elegy is kind of few and far between. So the next option that you'd probably want to go with is Elegy, and you don't really need her healing. Mavuika has really good interruption resistance, so you don't really need shield either. So she's really just there for the EM boost and the cryo app. And like we were saying, she doesn't have a lot of cryo app. You kind of want to run double cryo with her if you're going to do it. But yeah, the typical like reverse melt AFK team just becomes forward melt with Mavuika because her application is significantly slower than Xiangling's. That does not mean that Mavuika cannot be used in reverse melt. And this is the point where we go to Cinder City for her. Now, which pieces do I want to give her? Elemental Mastery. Methinks this one. And then that one. And then this one. I'm going to keep her on that goblet. And we have an attack sands here. Which one do we want? A lot of crit rate. See how we're doing. Yeah, it's good enough. Try Mav E, Bennett EQ, Diona E, Seat Lolly EQ, Mav Q, normal melt combo. Very brain dead setup, and yes, Seat Lolly gives the Cinder City buff. Diona will be the one to hold instructors. Yeah, like that sounds like it should work. Like pretty much any double cryo melt setup will allow Mavuika to forward melt. Alright, so however, let's talk about reverse melt. Because Mavuika's role as a support is being greatly undervalued. Unfortunately, I don't have Brisley. So we're gonna have to do something kind of cringe here
A pleasure to be working with you.
to show this off. So we're gonna go Ayaka,
I've
here,
been waiting for you for ages.
Bennett.
I won't hold you back.
Those of you that have been watching a while, you've seen something similar to this, right? Mavuika with one other off-field pyro or with Dendro is enough to melt Ayaka. And if it's enough to melt Ayaka, it's enough to melt anyone. Right? And since Mavuika has really good uptime on her skill, she triggers the hell out of Cinder City set. In fact, we need to put her before Bennett. Up. There we go.
I won't hold you back.
He is really... Her and Oberon are probably the two best characters at triggering the Cinder City set because of how universal Pyro and Electro are with reactions. I'll show something off in a bit, and I showed it off in the video and I don't think anyone noticed, but I'll show something off in a bit. But the value of just having 40 extra damage percent on your entire team, because it doesn't just buff one element, it buffs every element involved in the reaction, and it can add extra elements later on if need be. Not normally necessary though, like as I'll show in a bit. Mavuika, as an off-fielder, as a Xiangling replacement, doesn't need energy and can hold the set. Can often just power creep Xiangling. Not by a lot. Not by a lot. But especially in teams where Xiangling isn't vaping, where she's just there to apply pyro, Mavuika kind of steps up and is like, I'm just better now. So we have burst on Ayaka. We don't need Mavuika burst. And there's something else I can show off here. Will be nice. Yo, thanks for, I'm assuming, sub. I didn't see what the notification actually was. So, we come over here. We apply Cryo. Cryo and Dendro don't react, so they're both on the enemy at the same time. Mavuika's skill reacts with both.
Everybody stand back. Embrace the ice.
And now we just melt Ayaka first. You just need a tiny bit of pyro with Nahida in order to melt Ayaka. Without Nahida, like if you were to use a character that's actually built for reverse melt, like Risley or Ganyu, like you wouldn't need Nahida or a second pyro. Like Mavuika should be enough for that. But I don't have either to properly test it. Going off of application
Sand
rates,
is the
like you
natural
should be
enemy of
fine
fire and
with just
civilization.
Mavuika
In the desert,
and Bennett for those two characters. Ayaka has no artifact. Probably. But it's fine. We just got to show off how the interaction works. So Cryo and Dendro don't react, so Mavuika is able to react with both. In fact, let me do that again so I can just show that. Look, Ayaka currently has how much Cryo percent? So when we do this, we should have 40% Dendro, we should have 40% Pyro, and 40% Cryo. Right? We'll look at that in a second. Bounce, have a good one. All right. Thanks for hanging out. So we apply Cryo, we apply Dendro,
burn it down.
Cryo, Pyro, go to Ayaka, and now 40% Pyro, 40% Dendro, and 58% Cryo. See, we got all three of these, and that's for the entire team. Nahida will also have Pyro, Dendro, she already had a Dendro Goblet, Cryo. Mavuika also has Pyro, Dendro, and Cryo. Bennett, Pyro,
Penny's Adventure Team,
Dendro,
assemble!
and Cryo. Because Mavuika has off-field Pyro, that makes her busted with this set. We can move on to something else now that we have her on this set.
All is
You can go
accounted for.
Kokomi,
Let's move out.
Arena,
I have high hopes for this journey.
yeah, Mavuika, and then Emily.
The pleasure
Okay.
is all mine.
Why Emily and not Nahida? Let me show you. The one thing that you can do is, since Mavuika gets damn near 100% just on her own, You just need a few normal attacks to be able to use her burst every rotation. Now, you're not maxing fighting spirit. Like, you're not even getting close. But you can use her burst every rotation. It's not going to do near as much. But, like, even without other Natlan characters, it's not something that she's locked out of. Right? Kill. That's roughly enough damage. Kokomi was not on Solar Pearl. Or not the prototype Amber. Bleh. Make sure everyone else is fine. I guess that's fine. Okay. Right. I should have had Mavuika on triple EM. Whoops. I forgot I was going to show this off. That's good. We already did the Sands. Elemental Master 35, 40. I think we'll go ahead and keep that one. Mastery. Find an EM Sand. EM Goblet we can use. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. For a triple EM build, we can go ahead and switch. We fuck up our ratio if we do that. And it's fine. We'll go ahead and switch to Mailed Flower. So much Hydro app that it's overtaking the Pyro and Dendro. Yep. That's why we're using Emily. Right? So we have so much Hydro app. This is just something that happens in Virgin. Like, if you're setting up Virgin, what ends up happening, like, even if you try to go reverse, which is generally what you should always do, even if you try to go reverse bloom, what ends up happening is your Hydro will generate a seed, your Pyro will trigger burning, then your Hydro eliminates the burning, and then your Hydro generates a seed, and then your Pyro generates a burning. And so you're cutting your seed generation in half. The boon of being able to get 2 seeds for every Dendro application is just gone. It's 1-to-1. So 1-to-1 is the same as if you have a Hydro aura and you're forward blooming. So the best Dendro applier in that case, if it's going to be 1-to-1 either way, is the one that applies Dendro the most often. Nahida applies Dendro some amount greater than once every 2.5 seconds. After 2.5 seconds have passed after the last time it's triggered, the next reaction or Dendro core that explodes can allow it to trigger again. So it's always going to be some amount greater than 2.5 seconds. Emily's skill applies Dendro like at least once per second. So in a scenario where we end up with Hydro on the enemy, it becomes better to forward bloom. And this is something that, like, we've known about for quite a long time with Nilu teams, is that certain Nilu teams apply so much Hydro that it becomes kind of impossible to manage with Nahida. Make an entire college course on elemental reaction theory and Genshin? Yeah, they could. I would not be surprised if that has been done. When I was in college, you could sign up to teach certain night classes, and you basically got to design the course yourself. So, like, if I wanted to go back to college and work on my master's, I could probably teach a class about elemental gauge theory. I could probably get away with it. It'd be a free class. It'd be a class that kids could just, I say kids, but college, to just choose to take if they want to or not. It'd just be like an experience thing, kind of like a unpaid internship. But yeah, not only have we set it up to where we can actually get a bursted off here, but we can finally make Virgin like not terrible, and also by doing the Virgin setup with Mavuika on Cinder City, everyone else is just doing a shit ton more damage. Because, allow me to show you, we'll swap out Emily for Nahida just to make it easier. Show off.
Time to broaden our...
By the way, I don't think Emily was on Deepwood. That's something I need to fix for that. Who's your favorite character and why? Ning Wong. Ning Wong because she could be very, very scary and knows that, but she chooses not to be. She shows restraint, and I appreciate that. So anyway, if we were to do something like this, this. Actually, hold on. I don't know if that actually works. Go here. Okay. 40 pyro, 40 dendro. So yeah, it worked. Just by triggering a virgin. Just by triggering a virgin. We got pyro. Why don't you have a hydro damage bonus? Are you on an HP goblet? Why didn't you? All right, hold on. So it needs to be a little different. It needs to be. You need to do this. And then this. Nope. Mavuika's skill was still going. Hold up. If you don't have mailed flower, what's the next best substitute? If you're doing virgin rain slasher, like it's almost identical. I think one was my second, first being Noelle. Please, Noelle. So anyways, let's do it like this. Get Hydro back on the enemy. We're going to vape and virgin at the same time. Open up our character menu. Look at Verena. 40, 40, 40. We got all three. So just every character in the game gets in the team gets 40% damage bonus. So even though she's built triple EM, she still has 2,000 attack and 40 damage bonus in the team. And she can, because we're normal attacking with Kokomi, she generates enough fighting spirit to burst every rotation. It's not a supercharged max fighting spirit burst, but it's still enough to burst, and it vapes. And plus we have Farina giving even more damage bonus. Which yeah, the Emily team could have done better if I actually had her on Deepwood, which I forgot to put her on. I'm gonna be right back, and then we're gonna go through some other teams. Mavuika is actually pretty universal and not just limited to the Natlan team. Yes. Yes. That was something I really wanted to get into, and I wanted to do my own video of. And in fact, I recorded an entire video of, but I just could not bring myself to get down to editing, which is why I'm doing the stream now. It's the primary reason. That I addressed the responses that I got on the last video a lot more eloquently in the pre-recorded video, but I never finished it. And that's been happening a lot lately, where I work on a video and just decide I don't want to do it anymore. And I didn't think it would be fair for all the Redditors that are waiting for me to say something off the cuff after the last couple of videos, for me to not say anything. So here we are. I am going to BRB though, and then we'll get on some other things. All right, I'm back. They tried to cancel you so hard. Yeah, they did. uh, I don't know which is worse, the AI video or that one. That's the wrong one. There we go. I don't know which is worse. The Zenless Zone Zero video was also bombed, and I don't know what happened with that one. I'm still confused about what I did wrong with that. I have not gotten a straight answer. Sometimes someone will comment something that's like so out of pocket that I'm like, please explain what you're saying, and they just don't. And it really leaves me for a total loss. But yeah, like Mavuika actually kind of makes single target version like slightly viable, which is kind of cute, kind of incredible. We still like we haven't gotten good AoE chambers for Nilu or Virgin in a long time though. When Triple Kenki comes back, Mavuika is gonna slay both in forward melt and in Virgin. Let's look at something else. Let's look at vape. So we could do something like Arlecchino.
An insurmountable problem, I presume.
Do we want to? Keep in mind, my Yelan is C3R1, so it will seem better than what it seems. I should. Do I need to nerf Mavuika when she's pretty much just there for holding the Cinder City set? I don't know.
Who's our target this time?
And this is something I showed off in the video too. There's like a direct comparison with Xiangling, and she was just better. A lot of that though is due to the fact that I just have like Cinder City is just easier to farm for. You're going to have better sets with Cinder City and with Obsidian Codex than you're going to have emblem pieces. And since she ascends crit, it just makes her easier. What are we looking at? We can go ahead and keep it on this. No, let's put her on damage. We'll give her the R2 verdict. I never thought I would regret like using the R2. I was like, I'm never gonna need a second verdict. Do I play ZCC? I played the beta, and I got bored of the beta after about a week. So let's crit damage. We'll go back to our Pyro Goblet. Or it is nice that I don't have to scroll as long to get to things like goblets now. Do we keep this one or do we go with the attack sands? Go with the attack because we need the crit rate, I think. The ratio looking like fine. Do I play Wua? I played Wua up through 1.1 before I got bored. The main reason I got bored with Wua was because I started doing damage calcs. And what I realized was that, yeah, the bosses do have less HP, right? However, they take so much less damage and the characters do so much less damage that I realized that the difficulty in Wua isn't necessarily because it's a harder game, but because it's designed in a way to where you have to spend more time fighting enemies than you do in Genshin. Which, the longer you spend fighting an enemy, the more likely you are to get one-shot by something. Because in Genshin, like, we have things like the Hydro Tulpa and the local legends that can also one-shot you. But in Genshin, like, you do so much damage that you can just kind of kill them before they can get that off. Whereas in Wua, the enemies are designed to take so much less damage and the characters are designed to do so much less damage that you can't really enter the fight and just DPS your way through it without encountering those, like, run-ending attacks. You know what? Let's do Bennett instead. Since my Yelan is C3. We'll do this.
Won't hold you back.
Mavuika generates a lot of particles. That's another thing. She's pretty good at setting up both Bennett and Xiangling. We'll probably do like a Xiangling team, Xiangling Mavuika combo in a bit too. Well, let's just go ahead and set this up. Wasn't the meta in Wua to also have your whole team characters attack at the same time? It's kind of designed in a way to where you have to. It's kind of designed in a way to where you have to attack with all of your characters, if that's what you're getting at. Because you build up, I don't remember the exact terminology. I think it's concerto or something like that. And your energy by just attacking, right? So you need to attack with everyone in order to get their abilities off. That's just the way the game is designed. Yeah, you can use her as an off-field character for vape. Then she generates so many particles, makes it a little bit easier to manage energy on Bennett without having to swap back into him. Even though I did not do that very well. Let me try it again. Go ahead and do a bit of a setup. Xingqiu should probably be on Fav for this.
We go.
But yeah, like actually looking into how Wuwa worked is what made me quit Wuwa. Because like the problem with Genshin's combat is that the bosses are just DP damage sponges, but they're even more of damage sponges in Wuwa.
Overruled. Rain outlines your fate. Witness the...
Burn it down!
Everybody stand back!
We did not catch the particles, so it did not matter. Yeah, aside from vape, something that was really do you think the Genshin power creep is getting as bad as Star Rail? Yes. Yes, I do. Genshin power creep is getting pretty bad. I mean, like Mavuika can do what Arlecchino does. Mavuika can do what Hu Tao does. Mavuika can do what Yoimiya does. Every single one of those characters does what Yoimiya does better. One of the reasons I've been putting out less videos is just because, like the Shalonen video, every single Shalonen team that I made for a Shalonen team video had Farina in it. And that's why I didn't publish the video. Because Farina has become like so non-negotiable in so many teams. Plus we have Nuvolette making characters like Ayato and Child to a lesser extent kind of obsolete. I think Shalonen and Kazuha, like, Shalonen isn't necessarily Kazuha power creep, because Kazuha is often really good with Shalonen. Like, primarily, though, with Nuvolette, because Nuvolette in himself is a problem. But yeah, I do think that we are facing a power creep problem, and I also don't think it's necessarily the characters that are causing it either. I think it's the artifact. Like we had Marechaussee and Golden Troop and Fontaine, and now we have Cinder City and Obsidian Codex and Natlan. Like these sets are absolutely busted, and they're like pretty much exclusively used. Fontaine's artifacts were exclusively used prior to Farina on Fontaine characters, and the Natlan sets are just kind of exclusively used on Natlan characters, like just off rip. Wuwa literally has different elements for the sole purpose of having immunities and resistance. It's so boring that no element does anything with another. Yeah.
To report? Go on.
Yeah, once you start looking into how Wuwa works, it kind of ruins the game. Wuwa's exploration is phenomenal. Wuwa's exploration is insane. Like, just the movement of the game is incredible. Like, not even just for a gacha game, just like as a game in general. It's so good. But, you know, I don't know if that could keep me playing the game. characters are easily power crept too. Damage profile, more front load. Well, I mean, yeah, because Genshin, the thing that makes Genshin stand out among other gachas, other gachas, is that it is like a true action RPG. Like, if I were to do like Diablo with like a Bone Spear Necro, I don't even know if it's meta anymore. Bone Spear Necro, you want to set up like your Decrepify, right? And you want to use your tendrils on your corpse explosions to give vulnerable. You want to do all that setup so you can do the big D damage, right? So you're setting up all of these abilities so you can do your big DPS phase. All of these abilities work in tandem with another to do a certain thing. And Genshin, like, it's kind of like that. The characters are just additional buttons to put on your hotbar in an action RPG. Like, even the damage is calculated similarly. But yeah, that I think that's Genshin's strongest point, is that the characters synergize really well together. That you get this big toolbox of abilities to put together to do things. And like Wuwa is definitely lacking in that. I at the time when I was playing, maybe it's gotten better since then. But at the time when I was playing, Calcharo and Yinlen was like the only real synergy of two characters that like definitely want to be used together. Where the abilities complement each other and allow you to do something unique. So, anyway, something I want to move on to with this is something I didn't get to hit on in the video, but was also like, why are you saying this?
What's the occasion?
A little extra training never hurts.
Want me to join?
This team right here. So this team is all right, but we need to talk about Auroron, because Auroron is actually kind of incredible. We have, is this the passive or is this one? It's this one. Okay. So, Auroron, whenever Night Soul Aligned damage is dealt, or Electro Charge is triggered, he can generate Night Soul. He spends Night Soul, right? So he has a set amount of Night Soul that he gets, and he'll generate and spend Night Soul every time these things happen. Well, in this team, there's no Hydro to trigger Electro Charge. So his Night Soul generation is cut in half in this team. What you can do is you could replace either one of these characters with Farina. Well, now we have Electro Charge and we have Night Soul Aligned damage, getting the max amount of Fighting Spirit that Auroron can generate. And also allowing Mavuika to vape. And you may be saying, but Chevreuse is locked out with a Hydro. Let's look at Chevreuse. I should do a Chevreuse video. Okay, so we have this passive, right? If it's only Pyro and Electro, res is decreased by 40%. Hey, that's great. But we also have this. Up to 40% attack. Does this say only Pyro and Electro? Does not. What about her C6? 20% Pyro and Electro, max 3 stacks, so 60% Pyro and Electro. Does this say only Pyro and Electro? It does not. In fact, you don't even need Electro for this. You can get this constellation, the 60% damage bonus for your Pyro characters, and Mono Pyro. The push for having just Overload, like with Bennett here,
You want me
the push
on
for
your
just
team?
Overload is to make it to where the characters on Banner are more appealing, right? Because she's always going to run with Pyro and Electro characters. So if you make people believe that Chevreuse has to be in just Overload instead of something like Overvape, then you can make them pull for those characters. So Chevreuse can totally be used in this. You still get your 40% attack, you still get your C6. And also, Mavuika Vape. You're missing the Reshred. Well, if we look at like a traditional like Overvape team,
Stay close and you will live. For justice.
Sing Cho, Bennett,
I won't hold you back
Xiang Ling,
much.
right?
I'll bring my seasonings.
Xiang Ling has Reshred, right? Sing Cho has Reshred. If you replace, but does Bennett have Reshred? If you replace Bennett with Chevreuse, are you losing Reshred? You're not. You're trading his massive attack buff for more consistent healing, no circle impact, and a 40% attack buff and 60 damage percent. Chevreuse just works as a replacement for Bennett. And she also funnels more particles into Xiangling, so you don't have to swap back into them. But this is Raiden National, so you don't need to do that anyway. Raiden kind of covers that. Characters are easily power up to. Oh, we already read that. So we could do something like same before. We could just play Overvape, except we have an on-field
Reporting for battle.
Pyro and an off-field Electro.
What's the occasion?
Oreron does not need to be swapped into to apply Electro. So, Oreron, do you have Cinder City at the moment? You do not. We need to fix that. We need to put Mavuika back on Obsidian Codex. He was not using Obsidian Codex hands. He was using this hand. Okay. Shingcho looking. I think we're good. Okay. Is Lanyan and Yume going to be good? I've seen some Doom posting about it, but there was also Doom posting about the nerfs the Mavuika got. So I would hold out until we get the character. However, from what I know about Lanyan, I haven't looked at
Sand
Yumenizuki
is the natural enemy of fire and
at all, but
civilization.
Lanyan
In the
is an
desert,
Animo shielder.
ruins
If
are
you
all that
asked
remain
me
to tell the story of the
at the start of 2.0, if Lanyan was good, if that was when she was going to be released, I would have said hell yes. at the time, an Animo Shielder would have been crazy because the king of the game was Vape. And often you had to choose between having VV or having a shield. Lanyan can have VV and a shield. So she does both of the things. So at the time, she would have been incredible. So before 2.0, I think Lanyan would have been an insanely good character. But now we have so many other options to lower resistance besides VV that at this point I don't think we need an Animo Shielder. But I will wait to see the character. We will see. Auron, you are on Cinder City now, right? You are not. You are missing a Sands. It is... Ah. I should have another Elemental Mastery Sands. I guess I do not. Ugh. Whatever. Fine. Like Mavuika. I fucked that up. Oh no. Okay. I did not hold the skill with Chevers. And in this team, we're going to have both Electro Charge and Overload. So Cinder City is going to be triggering for everyone. So everyone's going to be doing good things.
Not too far now.
Okay, there's that.
Be free.
Well, we could just do Riding National and replace Xiangling with Mavuika, and that'd be fine. Or we could play on-field Mavuika. Because Mavuika and Riding are actually pretty similar. They both have a burst that changes their stance, and for about 7 seconds, they do big PP damage. Raiden's kit has so much energy recharge that energy just isn't an issue, and Mavuika just isn't an issue. Raiden wants certain types of characters in order to make her burst even stronger. Mavuika wants certain type of characters to make her burst even stronger. They're actually pretty damn similar.
Rain outlines your fate. Let me weave you a verse. Final warning!
Not too far now. Go! You're free now.
Wrath from the sky!
And one thing I wanted to show is that Xingqiu's orbitals apply enough hydro to vape nearly everything here. So, like with Xingqiu, we can kind of just not attack with them. Especially in this abyss, though, you definitely should be doing your normal attacks. Because there's so much bonus to get. Like, it's 60% pyro, 60% normal attack bonus. So this is going to make teams with, like, Xingqiu and Yilan feel a lot better than they actually are. And they are just, it's 75%, not 60. Holy shit. It's going to make, oh, Night Soul line damage, not pyro. Pyro damage dealt by normal attacks. So yeah. It's going to make the teams with like Xingqiu and Yilan feel a lot better than they are. That's not to say that those teams are bad, but they're definitely getting a lot of help with the ley line disorders in Abyss 12. Okay, you could probably see like just how much fighting spirit. I should go claim my stuff real quick. Just how much fighting spirit Oron is generating on his own when you actually have a Hydro in the team. Let's swap out Xingqiu for Farina. Traverse is not built at the moment. Whoops. So, oh my god, no. Take this. That is your circlet. Take this. Stop it. Take this. And sure. 40k HP. Like right on the dot. How much longer is left on our banner? I never claimed my expeditions, and that's why I went there. We still got another 7 hours. Let me go pick these up real quick.
Add Astra.
Swap in Farina.
I have a high hope.
Ron, how you doing on energy? You could be doing better. Let's give this a swing. Bit under half on fighting spirit right now. We should do one run where we start at 0 to see just how much fighting spirit Oron generates.
Light it up. That's my name. Echoing song. You asked for it. Stop right there.
Not too far now. Tell me what you see.
Pyroclastic surge! Incinerate!
Yeah. The Oron, whenever you actually add a Hydro, pretty good as a solo Natlan teammate. But his fighting spirit generation is essentially cut in half without a Hydro. So overload, like, it is fine, but I almost always recommend having a Hydro. Xingqiu, like, even without normal attacks, pretty much applies all the Hydro you'll need with just his orbitals. You know, I've seen sheets where Nilu applies enough Hydro. So let's see. What have we covered? We've covered Vape. We've covered off-field Vape. We've covered Overload. We've covered Over Vape. I kind of glossed over Vape with an Electro on-fielder. Mainly just because my Raiden is too invested into to really be fair. We covered Melt. We covered Reverse Melt. We covered the Reverse Melt AFK team that becomes Forward Melt with Mavuika instead of Xiangling. We covered Virgin. What else do we got? I kinda want to look into Shatter Melt more. Shatter has gotten kind of silly recently. Do I have, hold on, let me pull up my sheet. I'd like to show you this. Because I have worked on so many videos and just not made the videos. But let's go to sheet. Let me pull this up. And like, I don't even know what people have been saying about the buffs. But like, they're kind of massive. They're actually kind of huge. Okay. So in these first 4, this is what it used to be. This is what it used to be with 40% rush shred. This is what it is now. And this is what it is now with 40% rush shred. This is Hyper Bloom, and this is Hyper Bloom with Deepwood Memories. Okay? If you'll notice, Electrocharge now doing more damage than Hyper Bloom at 1005 EM. Overload is nearly doing the same amount as Hyper Bloom. Shatter is doing more than Hyper Bloom. Without Red Shred, it's not doing as much. It's doing the exact same amount. So they basically, what they did, let's see if we can actually, are you not going to show me the actual calcs? It's been so long since I've used Sheets. They just changed the multipliers for everything. So we're going to see, we see a few numbers like this 24803, 24803. It's because transformative reactions use the same damage formula. They just have different multipliers for each reaction. And some of these multipliers just got boosted up a lot more. This is so much more than this, primarily because of the bonus ticks of damage that Electrocharge does. It's pretty close without the bonus ticks, but the bonus ticks actually makes it just outscale Hyper Bloom. So Electrocharge has gotten insane, and Shatter has gotten a lot better. Like, Shatter has gotten literally 2 times better. Electrocharge has gotten more than 2 times better. So the changes to these transformative reactions is actually like way bigger than I think people are letting on. Like I said, I haven't watched anyone's videos on it, but I'm not hearing anyone talk about like how kind of huge this is. Like the buffs to Electrocharge are to where like it's good enough in single target now. Like you used to, you kind of had to rely on it being AoE for Electrocharge to be any good. Now it's the best team in the second half. At least for Chamber 1. Not Chamber 1. Chamber 2. No. For Chamber 3. There we go. It was the last possible option. But second half of Chamber 3. Literal best team for this chamber. Like, even without Auron, even without, like, nice little aligned damage, you just have so many reactions that it just tears through that shield and gets it to where you can actually do damage. And it does pretty damn good single target damage now. And it's also, like, these have the same type of shield. You just need a lot of reactions, and it handles those. This one, I'm gonna be straight with y'all. I have not learned how this boss works. Like, I had to kill it a bunch of times for Seat Lolly. But I have no idea how this boss works. And I had to kill it to get my rewards. But nope, I don't understand. I don't understand that boss. I'll figure it out one of these days. I haven't done Mono Pyro. Oh. Decent team to show. Another vape team. Since I said I would do...
I'll bring my seasonings.
Anytime, any
Since I
place.
said I would do some with... Oh. Hold on. Coconut. Oh. Let's do this.
Thank you for permitting. No, inviting.
Xiangling and Mavuika are so strong together that we can sacrifice our extra reaction stacks on Nouvelette. That's silly.
I can't wait any longer.
Alright, Nouvelette definitely doesn't have prototype amber right now. Fix that. Okay. Farina, I'm pretty sure we know is good. Mavuika, we could put her on, back on Cinder City. What did you think about Imaginarium Theater this time? I had a horrible time with it since you basically had to use Melt. I'll go look at it again. I don't remember this particular time being that hard. Last time, having the Cookosaur, you know, flying firebird, like, I don't know how you're supposed to do that. Like, if you just didn't luck out and have like Farina or Kokomi or Nouvelette, because it just starts in its firebird form. Like, there's just no way to knock it down if you don't have them. You chip it away with the Elan, I guess. Okay, and sure. That's not enough EM. Whatever. Let's just show this off. This is funny. We're sacrificing so much on Nouvelette, but it's funny. Yeah, some of these Imaginarium theaters have actually been really fun. They like Imaginarium theater gives me an excuse to play Yoimiya. Because like we have those like infinite mob waves where I can just stand on Yoimiya and just pew 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 everything that spawns. I appreciate Imaginarium theater just for that.
Let the world fly.
Light of the blazing sun.
Eat this. Sacrifice him into the fire.
Be sanctified. Settle down. Justice.
Show a new praise. Time to shine. Nice and spicy. Hey-ya!
Pyroclastic surge.
The tide's beckoning.
It is just very funny to see Nouvelette doing so little damage, but the combination of Mavuika and Xiangling being this fucking strong
Be sanctified.
to make up for it. Up.
Bow your head.
Come on. Just die. Okay. I find that hilarious. Well, let's go look at Imaginarium Theater real quick. Can I just view my credits for Imaginarium Theater to get an idea of what it was like? Yeah, I can look at past performance, but I think we can just go to performance credit and look through here. Yeah, so we had the Swanee did give me trouble. The Swanee was kind of annoying. I do remember that. But that's the main thing. Because the Swanee wants you to trigger freeze on it, but it's a boss. It's such a counterintuitive mob. But yeah, like I use trial characters all the time. I think the thing that holds a lot of people back from it's like I've been pretty straightforward about my problems with Imaginarium Theater. But I think a lot of people don't try it because they just assume the trial characters aren't good enough, and that's not true. Like Imaginarium Theaters, like it's not really hard enough to where you need like super built characters. The trial characters are always good enough. I only used one there. I used 4 there. I used 2 there. I only used 1 there. I used 3 there. I didn't use any there. Well, I did this one multiple times. The first time I did it, I used all trial characters and I streamed it. So this one says I didn't use trial characters, but I have video proof that I used all trial characters the first time I attempted it. Is there anything else to bring up about Mavuika? That I needed to cover? Oh yeah, weapons. Let's see here. Do. Weapons. Here we go. Browser. Resize this window. Too far. Whatever. We're gonna have like just cinematic black bars. Will they eventually do Dendro Animo Geo for Imaginary Theater? God, I hope not. Oh, that would be terrible. Dendro Animo Geo with the special guest stars being Hydro characters, all Hydro characters. They just really sell that they want you to pull for Imaginarium Theater. Yeah. So that's the Blazing Suns, Red Horn, Serpent Spine, and Verdict. and Beacon, Wolf's Gravestone, and I don't remember the name of it. Unforged. There we go. Isn't this like pretty different than the weapon chart that they had? Interesting. But yeah, like Redhorn, Beacon, Verdict, and Serpentine are so close to one another that it's basically what you have with what artifacts you have. Like, if you don't have a good crit damage circlet, but you have a red horn, just go for red horn. If you have a good crit damage circlet and you have a verdict, go for verdict or R5 serpent spine. And that's with max stacks. Or beacon. Like, they're all like kind of right there together. Instead of, you know, just reordering this based on personal preference of not liking verdict for some reason and dumping it below everything else. I really hope they don't do Dendro, Animo, and Geo. If they do that, we know that they just like randomly generate it and don't like play test it at all. I'm going to go ahead and make some condensed resin, and I think, how long have I been live today? Only 2 hours? It feels so much longer. I did not sleep well last night because the snow, it gets to me.
Add Astra at. Thank you for complete.
But yeah, long story short is Mavuika is very, very good as an outfielder. It does not only require forward melt. Forward melt does not require seat lolly. Forward melt does not require Shallonen for that matter. Forward melt does definitely want you to have one or the other though. But they're kind of interchangeable. Overload is kind of a meme. Just put a Hydro in there and have Bennett or Chevreuse instead of Bennett and Chevreuse. So Auroron can generate, the term is a metric fuck ton of Knights of Fighting Spirit for Mavuika.
I see the value in my own work, but I also see the meaning in all
Monopyro, which I didn't do, is kind of just like Monopyro is kind of just,
pride and
it's Monopyro. It's pretty much the same no matter how you go about it. Like, obviously some things are better than others, but it's just fire damage. Wolf's Gravestone isn't good for Mavuika. It is good, but it's harder to balance your ratio with Wolf's Gravestone. It's right there with Beacon and Unforged, which is another attack percent weapon. The Wolf's Gravestone is good, but it's going to be harder to have a good crit ratio with it because it's an attack percent ascending weapon. What else we got to summarize for Mavuika? Virgin, actually pretty damn good now. Mavuika saved Virgin. I wouldn't recommend playing Reverse Melt if you don't have Ganyu or Risley, but I think I would say that regardless of whether you had Mavuika or not. Like, as I showed, like, you can reverse melt with Ayaka, but Ayaka loses so much from not having freeze. The Seat Lolly, not as good as everyone's saying. I think Seat Lolly is better than people are giving her credit for. Because, like, initially she's just advertised as kind of a constellation for Mavuika. But Sea Lolly is so much more than that. Jello put out a video, right? I didn't watch it, but like I can tell that we share the same sentiment that she's another Nouvelette upgrade. Just adding freeze to Nouvelette and like actually having a reliable shield is pretty pog. I think shields just are generally underrated. One thing that is definitely 100% overrated with Seat Lolly is her damage. I think the minute you try to make Seat Lolly an on-fielder, you'll realize that her damage is not nearly as good as people are letting on. Like, that initial burst hit is chunky. It is. Like, without a doubt. But, like, you can put her in reverse melt and melt everything and, like, do nothing. Yeah, that is one place where I think that she is being overhyped. I think she's definitely being overhyped in an attempt to sell her with Mavuika. Like, she is very, very, very good in that team. Undoubtedly very, very good in that team. But she is being oversold as something that is necessary for that team, and that's just not true. But Seat Lolly is a boon to any account that she's on, I would say. I think Mavuika is also a boon to any account. Do I think that you necessarily should pull one for the other? Absolutely not. I think that you should pull for characters that you like and want to find neat ways to play. I was like, when we're looking at characters as strong as Mavuika, we don't really need specific pieces for her. Like, she definitely wants Shilonen or Seat Lolly. Or if you're playing her in Vape, she definitely wants Oran. But there are some gimmicky things that you can do to get more Night Soul for Mavuika. Like, Kachina's bad, okay? The only reason you should ever build Kachina is if you don't have Shilonen. But if you don't have Shilonen, like, Kachina can also generate a nice bit of Night Soul. And she does it pretty fast, too. Should have provided more support for Cryo. I think people are looking at it the wrong way. I think that she's made a new way to play Freeze. The problem is we never get abysses where Freeze is good. Like Ayato, Nouvelette, Child, Hydro Freeze is something that she enables really well when it works, which is something that just doesn't ever happen. Anyway, like you can see, Mavuika, it's currently somewhere around like 20%. You hop on Kachina and just bang on the ground a few times and get a bunch of Night Soul. Or you can also, now that we have her burst, wait for the cooldown to come back. One thing, I think that Seat Lolly should also lower Cryo Res. I do. I think that would make her a lot better too. I don't think there's really any good reason why it doesn't. But, and I think this requires cons on Kachita though. Do a couple of bounces, burst, and it goes back up. And now you hop out and you have her generating more fighting spirit while off field. Yay. And just remember, like, C6 Bennett can mess it up a little bit. But if you ever find yourself in a situation where you don't have an infusion, if you just throw in some extra normal attacks, like if you're on Bennett waiting for particles, throw in some normal attacks to just get a little bit of extra fighting spirit, and that can make a difference. Like I was showing earlier, like even without other Natling characters, you can burst every rotation as long as you're doing normal attacks. Yeah, I think I need to call it there. I need to get a nap. I'm beat. Is there anything else to think about? I want to surmise everything. Mavuika and Xiangling. Mavuika can be better in some of the same teams as Xiangling. Like you could just replace Mavuika in some teams and she'll be better. You can also play Mavuika and Xiangling together and it's pretty damn good. Mavuika is an on-fielder, can take on the role of every pyro on-fielder. You can spam charge attacks, you can spam normal attacks. She can really just kind of do it all. Are there any more Natlan characters coming, or is this it? They did put out that teaser with all the characters in the last special program. There's one character on there that I am sure is a Natlan character. If I don't know if you've played the story yet, but I think it was in the story around here we ran into a little talking bird. Are you aware of this? There's a thing that happened. It was very, very happy with the word bro. Just constantly spamming the word bro. That bird. Well, yeah, Ian-san. I forgot about Ian-san. But that bird in the Natlan quest, right? It's the pet of a doctor who's friends with Auron. And in that shadowy image, that bird is there. So that doctor that's friends with Auron is likely coming pretty soon. So that's another Natlan character besides Ian-san that we're gonna get. It looks like Skirk was in that image. I'm looking forward to that. But here's the problem with other Natlan characters is I don't know how they give us Natlan characters that want an artifact set besides one of these two. Is they have made these sets so damn overpowered. Aoife, yes, thank you. Thank you, Div. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go for Ian-san. It looks like from that image that Skirk is coming. I'll definitely be going for Skirk. Definitely looking forward to that. I don't know if y'all have seen my Skirk short. You see, I'm kind of old. Like, I'm going on 35, right? So when I post a short, I'm posting what my brain thinks TikToks and shorts are. Right? And it's very much like Steve Buscemi coming in with the Hello Fellow Kids. But like, I think that's a great short. In my mind, that is like the DNA of what a short is. But that I'm an old man. I maybe I just don't get it. Yeah. Man, I think I really need to call it. I'm not thinking of anything else that I have a script. I have a script. What is wrong with me? I can just run through the script real quick and see if I missed anything. Oh, see, you see how fried my brain is right now. Oh, man. Is this it? No, this is not it. I guess I didn't do it on Soul to Pop. Means I need to be careful by going to my personal account to look at this. Yep. All right. Here's Mov Teams. Take it easy. Try not to get canceled. All right. I shouldn't say this. But I've rubbed people on both sides of like the Genshin content creator community wrong to the point where I'm I know I'm shadow banned by quite a lot of people, right? So like there's a part of me that's like I could say whatever I want and get away with it. There's like that little demon like whispering in my ear, like you don't need to worry about it. Just make the video that you want to make. That's what you've always done anyway. Who cares if you're a little more bitter than you used to be? Just do it. No one will know. But yeah, like my fear of being canceled for Genshin takes has never been lower, just because I know that anyone that of the people that would try to do it, like none of them see me. None of them see me anymore. Like I am just invisible to them now, which is great. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, hitting on. When I said less than fighting spirit, it's because Mavuika and Shilonen are generating around 150 fighting spirit on their own. So there's only 50 more to get. Therefore, Seat Lolly is generating around 50 fighting spirit in that team. Okay. The resistance. Shilonen has already reduced it, so like showing calcs where she's doing 20% more damage is kind of misleading because she's not whenever the enemy with 10% resistance is already reduced below 0.
Many insects have a compulsion to follow the and humans are the same.
The Cinder City is not something unique to Seat Lolly. Shilonen can use it too. Like, instructors and Cinder City are kind of interchangeable. If you want uptime on instructors, you can use it on Seat Lolly. If you want uptime on Cinder City, you can use it on Seat Lolly. And if you want less uptime on either one, you put them on Shilonen. They're kind of interchangeable between the two. Yes, and jumping after the 4th charge attack to better line up with the standard ICD of her charge attacks. Very good. See, Lolly isn't the only character that you can do that with, though. Rosaria, Charlotte can both do it. Kaya can do it for the first 2 melts, but his burst runs out unless you kill something in the middle of it. And reset it with the C2. Or add time onto it with the C2. Layla has a setup for it, but it's really, really cringe. What's important? The team that was presented was a 1 melt team, and all those characters can do the 1 melt. And they can also do the 5 melt, except for Kaya. See here. Shilonen and Lolly are roughly equal in terms of their value for Mavuika. After that, Shilonen can be replaced with Vivi Shredder, Katina, or Zhongli, and Seat Lolly can be replaced by another melt enabler. If one thing is easily replaceable and another isn't, it means the thing that is harder to replace is more valuable than the thing that isn't. Full stop. That said, I don't think you should go for C1. I'm talking about C1 here. C1 is something that just makes her better in more teams. So it's something that's harder to accommodate than replacing Seat Lolly or Shilonen. So in terms of vertical investment, C1 is going to be more valuable. I don't think you should go for Seatlali or Shilonen for Mavuika. I think the smartest thing to do is to go for characters you like, that you'll be able to play in a lot of teams you enjoy playing. Mavuika, Shilonen, and Seatlali can all fit that bill really well, and none of them necessitate having the other. And you generally want at least 300 EMs, so hopefully you have some other EM sources if you're not able to reach that in artifacts. If you have at least 300, you generally are going to be better off with the attack sands, just because you have more attack sands from drops, meaning that your attack sands will likely have better substats than your EM sands. But once you get around 300, like, it's kind of safe to go with an attack sands over an EM sands. What did we miss? Yeah, I never clarified this, but in Abyss, like, you're gonna start off with full fighting spirit. So as you're going through your rotations, you're not generating fighting spirit with Seatlali or Shilonen. Okay? So it could be fine to just not use Mavuika's skill and make it easier to melt with her. That said, Mavuika, after she hits her burst, her skill is still generating, it's still hitting a little bit. So that is some fighting spirit that you're missing out on. So that's something to keep in mind. And we talked about burn melt. Talked about vape. I did not talk about Mualani. Mavuika with Cinder City is good with Mualani. However, I think Mualani is simultaneously the best and worst character in the game, especially with Widsith. I think that makes that divide even wider, because Mualani, we can go ahead and just like swap in Mualani here. And I'm tired of looking at Katrina, so I'll put Shalone in there too. Where's Mualani?
Whoa, what a lineup. We'll be unstoppable.
Shalone, that's who I'm looking for. Brain is fried.
Let's get this over with.
So, if you miss one of these, you're screwed. If an enemy decides it's going to be like, hey, I'm over here now, you're screwed. Dunzo. Like, you're going from 60k DPS to 40k DPS. And 40k DPS is like barely enough to clear Abyss now. It used to be 30k DPS. 40k DPS is like right there. Like, you're losing so much of your damage just by missing one. And it's possible to miss more than one. Then you have the... I pulled for her signature just because I was so sick of Widz's shit with Mualani. You only have uptime because it's 30 seconds, which means it's once every other rotation you'll have the Widsith buff. So one third of the time, right? Am I mathing right? There's 3 half the time where you're choosing between 2 of these that are good. Yeah. So 1/3 of the time, you'll have Woodsith. 2/3 of the time you won't. So like if you don't have her signature and you don't have Sacrificial Jade, you'll want Woodsith. And like I'll be real with you, Woodsith does better than Surf's Up sometimes. But most of the time it doesn't. Mualani is one swingy character. Like if you have Mualani and you love Mualani, like you'll like using Mavuika with her. She's the best character to put Cinder City on with her. All right. Next, though. National's kind of cope because she can't give the buff to any of the animal characters you're running with it. Rational, however, is also kind of cope because Mavuika doesn't have energy, which means she does not give resolve to Raiden. But Fukokomon, Plunge, Funer National, pretty much any team where you would use Xiangling, she can slot in and just replace her and you don't have to worry about energy for her. Oh, we can't get her burst on her own. She definitely can get her burst on her own. You just need something. Yeah, you need I think 7 normal attacks over the course of a rotation to generate it. So like even if you don't have like a normal attacker in the team, if you're just weaving in normal attacks while you're waiting for particles, she can still get her burst every rotation. It's not going to be max by any means, but she can still burst every rotation. Farina, Nilu, and Xingqiu can all apply enough Hydro for Mavuika to spam her charge attacks or even plunge with Xianyun. And Candace, Barbara, and Mona can all be enough with just a little bit of help. Overvape is really, really good. I think you should always play Overvape over Overload. Like it, and I think that Auron kind of is a very vital puzzle piece to that. See what else we got. Yeah, you can play Overvape with like since Raiden National doesn't work, you can do like Cloran National, and that works pretty well. That's pretty good. Normal burning is fine. You can either go like the Kanich route with like Emily or not Emily and just build for damage. Because a lot of stuff now, it's just, do you have the reaction? It's not optimizing for certain reactions. Mavuika is the first character in a while where we want to actually like optimize for certain reactions. But for the most part, it's just whether you have it or not. And burning, it's just like if you have burning, you can do this stuff. Building for the burning reaction is kind of cool. It wasn't even buffed in the spreadsheet. Bloom variations, we showed Virgin, but also Curry is pretty solid. I would honestly say I think that Virgin is actually kind of better with Mavuika than any of the meme kitchen teams. And I explained like why Emily is more ideal than Nahida and Virgin, because like you have your Hydro Aura, so it comes down to who's applying Dendro the fastest, the most often, and that would be Emily. Yep, that's everything. Thanks for hanging out. I am definitely going to nap. Goodbye.